Today we have Chris Floyd, my friend, great photographer, and he's going to be talking about someone we both have photographed, David Bailey. Is he a Sir David Bailey, or is it just
I
David
don't think he
Bailey?
is. I
Should
don't think
be,
he
should be
should
a
be.
Sir.
Should be a
Yeah,
lord, a
yeah.
knight,
Lord
a
Bailey
lord.
of the Manor.
Yeah, Bailey. So, 2011, got a call from a woman called Lucy Davis at the Telegraph. She said, we want to do a thing on two photographers from different generations talking together, like a conversation thing,
Mm.
talking about how what it means to be a photographer, how that has changed.
What a flattering thing.
Absolutely,
The
you
David
bet.
Bailey of the noughties.
And I said, "Yeah, I'd love to, but who would I do it with?" And she goes, "Well, I was thinking of asking Bailey." And I literally sort of fell off my chair when she asked me. She goes, "Okay, well, I'll put it to Bailey. I'll email his PA and I'll let you know."
Mm.
So it comes back some time later,
Mm.
and it just said Bailey's interested, but he would like to meet Chris first to see if they get on. And
Oh,
then he'll
wow.
decide if he wants to do it. So that's a challenge, right? So is there any time Chris could pop into the studio for 20 minutes, just have a cup of tea and meet Bailey and just see if they get on?
Oh,
I was
wow.
like, amazing, yeah. So the date gets set 1st of March, right? 2011, St. David's Day. But the David I'm going to see is no saint.
I like that.
So I go to the studio, knock on the door. Someone buzzes me in. You go up this quite steep flight of stairs. It's all on the first floor upstairs. Big, huge space, lovely wooden floorboards.
Mm.
There he is. He's on a chair in the middle of the studio, on a sort of high stool.
Yeah.
With a cape around him.
Gosh.
Having his hair cut. And the hairdresser that's cutting his hair is this quite dark, youngish, handsome chap. And I've been there for a few minutes because he's sort of got his back to me. He doesn't realise I'm there. And then I think Danielle takes me over to introduce me to him. Says, Bailey, this is Chris Floyd. And he's like, oh, he's really friendly. He's just like, oh, hello, welcome. Sit down. Has anyone offered you a cup of tea? Do you want a cup of tea? Has anyone offered you a cup of tea? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. He goes, this is, gesticulates over his shoulder to the guy cutting his hair. And he's like, this is Kashmir. He's cutting my hair. I was like, all right, nice to meet you, Kashmir. Kashmir cuts his hair. We sort of sit there for a minute. It's sort of very friendly and warm and nice. And there's a few, his daughter is there.
Paloma
is there. And then he goes, so what's your story then? Why did you become a photographer? And I said, well, funnily enough, when I was at school, there was a book in the school library, David Bailey's Box of Pin-Ups. That was really the first photography book I saw that made me realise that you could do photography. It could be a life, a career. He goes, box of pin-ups, blimey. He goes, that's worth an absolute fortune now. Did you nick it? And then I realised I'd made a mistake. It is not David Bailey's Box of Pin-Ups, which a copy of that is worth 50 grand
It's
now.
actual prints, isn't it?
Yeah, it's prints in a box.
Yeah.
And limited, they didn't print many of them. But I didn't, I'd made a mistake, and it wasn't David Bailey's Box of Pin-Ups that I'd seen in the school library. It was another book called Black and White Memories.
But never let the truth stand in the way of a good story.
Well, this is the truth. So I go, oh, no, actually, sorry, no, it wasn't Box of Pin-Ups. It was Black and White Memories. Oh, that's not worth anything. Crap printing. So then Kashmir finishes the haircut, takes off the robe, packs his stuff away, says goodbye and leaves.
Did you bring your cameras with you on the off chance?
Not on that day, no.
Yeah.
Because I'm just going for the cup of tea,
Yeah.
20 minutes.
You don't want to be
see if we
presumptuous.
get on. Just
Yeah.
going to see if we get on.
Yeah.
Kashmir packs his stuff away. Everyone bids him farewell. Off he goes. And I say to Bailey, what an amazing name for a hairdresser. And Bailey goes, what? And I went, what an amazing name for a hairdresser. Kashmir. He goes, oh, that's not his real name. That's just what I call him. Because he looked, I go, well, what's his real name? Oh, I don't know, Gianni or something. I'll just call him that because he looks like a Kashmiri carpet salesman. So then we're talking away, and Bailey mentions the Cray twins, and he talks about Ron and Reg, and then he says something about their mother, Violet, and then I say, my granddad came from the same street as the Cray twins,
Valence Road,
Bethnal
Green.
I say, yeah, but his parents were killed by the last V2 rocket to hit London in March 1945.
Mm.
And Bailey says, "Yeah, V2 hit my local cinema when I was a kid. I was terribly cut up about it. I thought Hitler had killed Mickey Mouse." And and then he just goes, "Well, are you Jewish?" And I go, "No. Well, it's complicated. My grandparents were the children of immigrant Jews from Eastern Europe. However, after the war, my granddad, or both of my grandparents, they didn't really convert to Christianity, but they had my mum baptized as a Christian.
Mm.
And my granddad sort of wanted nothing to do with being Jewish after the war. And then he goes, "What about your wife? Is she Jewish?" And I said, No, she's English, actually, quite posh English, from very old English family, quite posh English." And Bailey just goes, "Shiksa." Like she's a poisonous woman, almost, like that. And I probably have to explain what a shiksa is to those that don't know. So a shiksa might be kind of defined as an attractive Gentile girl who lures with her feminine ways a nice Jewish boy away from the faith. So she's seen as a kind of siren. A shiksa is a kind of siren.
So Bailey clearly sort of had you put in the Jewish box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but how can my wife be a shiksa when I'm not even Jewish? And he sort of pushed that away as a minor. And then at the end of it all, he said, this Telegraph thing, I don't know if I want to do it. I'm not that enamored of magazines these days, but it's been a real pleasure to meet you. I've really enjoyed meeting you today. And I would like to do something with you, but I'm not necessarily sure it's that. So that's where we ended it. And that was sort of fine with me anyway, because I sort of got what I wanted from it, which was just to hang out with him for the day and chat. And then a few days go by and I get this email from Lucy Davis at the Telegraph, who says Bailey has decided that he doesn't want to do the chat. Instead, he's going to talk to the art critic Andrew Graham Dixon about his life, but he would like you to do his portrait for that. So that's perfect. So I go back to the studio again on another day with an assistant, two assistants actually, again, a bit like McCartney. I want belt and braces. Absolutely. Two assistants, take all our own gear. We arrive. Bailey's not there yet. We set up our stuff, and then Bailey's assistant Mark kind of comes over and looks at my lighting and my stands and my tripod and all that stuff, and he's like, "Oh, Bailey is gonna rip the piss out of you when he sees all this." And I was like, "Oh, okay." Bailey comes in, and sure enough, he sort of starts prodding and poking things, and I was like, "If you just leave it alone, it won't fall over." And he's like, all right, like that. And I start shooting. And after a minute or so, he sort of looks at me quizzically and he says, what shutter speed you got there? And I looked at the camera and I was like, 60th? And he goes, you sure about that? Sounds like a 30th to me. And I was like, oh, stop trying to wind me up. And he was like, I can't help it. And he just, for a split second, he had this kind of amazing frown on his face that I sort of missed, but thought that's what I got to get, that this frown, and I was like, go on then, call me a cunt. And
you want to.
call me a cunt. And he's like, what? And I was like, just call me a cunt. And he's like, and I was going again. And he was just like, you. And that's what the picture is him calling me a cunt. Yeah. And I couldn't say I couldn't be more happy than that I was called a cunt by David Bailey.
Yeah.
And then we photographed him for about 15 minutes, got it all done, fine. The assistants are packing everything away, and while they're doing that, I'm sitting on the couch at one end of the studio with him, and we're sort of sitting there together, side by side, sort of like Waldorf and Statler from the Muppets, while the assistants are packing stuff away. And he says, well, this has been really nice, actually. He says, it's much better than what I've got this afternoon. I was like, oh, what have you got this afternoon? And he goes, I've got my accountant coming in. Tax and shit. And then Mark the assistant is now down at the far end of the studio with a ladder, putting the ladder up against the wall, and there is this massive Damien Hirst butterfly painting framed, huge. I mean, like 12 foot by 8 foot, huge thing on this wall. And at the top of the wall is a sort of ledge bit, and on top of that ledge are all his coloramas are up there. And Mark is going leans the ladder up past the Damien Hirst to the top of the ledge, and he's going up the ladder to get a colorama down. And we're just, neither of us are talking. We're just watching Mark go up this ladder, and I say to Bailey, "Is that a Damien Hirst?" And Bailey goes, "Yeah, he give it me." And I go, "Oh, that's nice." He goes, "Yeah, it's worth about £1 million, that." Pauses and then says, "Well, it would be if that lot didn't keep leaning their fucking ladders on it." And that's my last memory of him before I left.
Oh.
And it was just an amazing couple of days with him.
Yeah.
Amazing. He was everything you wanted him to be. Funny, cantankerous, contrary, rude, but also very sweet, actually.
Chris, thank you very much.
Pleasure. Thank you.